Hey, how you doing? This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show, and we're back. Yep, we're back. First day that I've really been able to do much. Been trying to catch up today from the lost time due to my cold, and spent most of the morning going over emails and stuff like that. And then I started looking at shows I had on my list to do, and one of the things that I haven't been working on much is my ebooks. And I saw an ebook. I may have seen this in the past and I kind of forgot about it. And it's related to emergency preparation. And last month, when they reminded us here in Florida that hurricane season has started, I thought, I need to go make sure I get everything ready for a case of a hurricane, specifically the loss of power. And this morning I found this book again. I may have seen this book before, but my memory is so bad I can't remember. But here it is right here. Let me open it up. I say, there we go, finally. Oh boy. Okay, this is a small book. It's maybe 40 pages. It's $1.99 in the Amazon store, or if you're a member of I call it the Book of the Month Club. It's more like a library card club on Amazon. You can get this for free and read it as long as you want to, and then put it back when you want a new book. But this one is When the Lights Go Out. It's a guide to living in your home without power or water during an emergency, such as a hurricane. Now, we've been extremely lucky lately, trying to mix those two words together for some reason, in the past couple of years, in that we have not had any damaging storms here in Florida. So we've been lucky. But it means, our numbers my numbers do. So I thought, what I'll do for my viewers and myself is kind of quickly go through this and see if, I've got these things that this guy is suggesting, and if I'm ready to go for an emergency. Because maybe that's why we haven't had any emergencies lately, because I have been prepared. So let's just go through this book quickly. Like I say, it's only $1.99 if you want to get this on Amazon. Again, it's When the Lights Go Out. So here we go. And it says, the author says, my goal is to help you remain safe and reasonably comfortable in your home without power or water, with items you most likely have available. Now, the worst part for me is losing power, especially in the summer. Oh, that is brutal. So I do have a emergency power system, and I'll get into that when we get down to that. Okay, so let's go through this. And then he opens up by saying what I do when the power goes off, and he talks about in general what he does, which is what the majority of the rest of this book is about. Okay, he says, do you have some means of cooking? Now, we're at an advantage where I live in that we have natural gas piped in from the city, so we don't have to worry about electricity to cook because we have natural gas, so that's covered. Now, it could be a possibility where the gas lines get broken. We also, I have somewhere buried in my workshop a stove just like this one here. It's a Coleman stove. And I do have some tanks of gas, so worst case, I could resort to that. Next thing he talks about is some kind of heat in case it's wintertime. Well, it's not wintertime typically when we have storms here. So and it doesn't get that cold here in Florida. So for me, that's not a problem. For you, that might be a problem. So you might want a portable heater. Power. Now, there's a couple of options for providing power. And like I said before, I am a big user of power, and, I really go kind of ballistic when power goes off even for a few minutes, and I have to reset everything and reset the clocks. Oh gosh. Anyway, I do have this kind of system. I do have a battery charger, and I do have an inverter. Now, the inverter I have is not very large. It's a small inverter, I think maybe 400 watts. So it's not a biggie. It's not going to do much. Maybe charge a cell phone and play a radio. So that's what I've got there. I do have, as far as power, and he shows it later, the organization of this book is a little confusing. But it does have most of the essential information you need. I do have a generator. It's 5 kW gas generator. So I do have that, and I've used it 3 times over the past 10 years. And boy, did it come in handy. But it's noisy. Okay, then he goes into some details. Knives. I've got tons of knives. I was a kind of a semi-collector of knives over the past couple of years. Oh, by the way, the author used to live in Florida. So I got plenty of knives. I got knife sharpeners, multiple kinds of knife sharpeners. Multi-tools. I have multi-tools. I got tons of tools. So we do have a manual can opener and a Walmart close by. Fire starting equipment, we do have these because we use candles a lot just for the smell, and since we have 3 cats, so we got those. Basic first aid items. Yeah, we've got a overabundance of first aid items. We have 2 or 3 homemade first aid kits, plus lots of medications and stuff like that. So we're covered there. And we do periodically go through them and look for things that have expired and replace them. So that's another thing you need to do, is check to see if your medications have expired or not. Oh, also, if you're like me, you have several medications that you need to take every day. Always be sure you have plenty of that on hand, especially if you know a storm is coming. Check your medication level. Something could happen in, the local drugstore, or something could be without power, so they can't give you any medication. So that's something you always keep on top of. Again, when there's an impending storm, it's something you can do to catch up on. Water. We go back here. It says ice maker. We have an ice maker. Hot water heater. We have a hot water heater. We typically do fill the bathtub if there's an impending storm. Now, of course, we don't keep it full all the time. Tank on the back of the commode is another source of water. Rain barrels. We don't have any rain barrels. Mosquitoes are really a problem here in Florida, so we typically don't have standing water outside. Even though you could have a rain barrel that's self-contained, we typically don't have it. Fish tanks. I have several 30 gallons and larger fish tanks, so yeah, that's a source of water. Ice and snow, no, that's not an option here. Okay. And it gets in specifics about these things, what they are. Shows a water tank system for collecting water. Water purifiers. How to flush the commode. And again, it goes back to cooking and heating. Lighting. We used to have some oil lamps, but we got rid of those. We do have tons of flashlights. I probably have 30 or 40 flashlights of various sizes, battery operated lanterns, candles. We do have candles because we use candles all the time. So we're covered there. We did get rid of our oil lamps. Generators, as I said, we do have a large generator. And I periodically, which I have not done this year, I periodically test it. and I have not tested it this year. So that's something I need to put on my list. Things to do is test the generator, because if something goes amok and you go to use it and it doesn't work, you're probably not going to find anybody to fix it for you if it's a real disaster. So I need to do that. Matter of fact, I'm going to put that right on a piece of paper right now before I forget. Oh, geez, I just dropped the paper. Okay, bear with me for 1 second while I write that down. Okay, now, so we're going to do that in the next couple of days. There's the power inverters he talked at the beginning. And this is a little paragraph about where do you go if you're forced to leave your home because your home has been demolished. So that, you need to just think about it and, kind of find out, where the local hotels are or friends or whoever you stay with. Okay, I'm going to move right along here. Different types of heat. Communications, of course, it's important. CB radios, ham radios, scanners, hand crank radios. I've reviewed a lot of those. It's always good to have one of those. Find out what's going on. GPS unit, well, most people, their cell phone has a GPS unit. Guns, I'm not a gun person. I'm just not a gun person. I have no guns. So I have no way of protecting myself or my family from intruders. So, cash, credit, or trade, that's something you got to think about, whether you got cash on hand, because if it powers off, you won't be able to go to an ATM and use an ATM. Okay, we're moving right along. Here's a food kit. Pretty straightforward there. Types of food you should keep around. We have a lot of canned goods, dry goods, a lot of goods that won't be spoiled if we don't have power. Now, like I say, we do have a generator to run. We typically use that generator to run the 2 refrigerators we have, and fans, and maybe 1 wall air conditioner unit. And the other thing is, again, which I need to put on my list, is do you have gas available for that generator? Now, I typically keep 5 to 10 gallons on hand, but you can use that up in a hurry if you're using a generator. I think I went through about 5 gallons a day when we were using our generator full time. So 10 gallons, I only had 2 days worth. So if a disaster is impending, then you should go fill up with gas. You can fill up your gas cans. You can fill up your vehicles. The other thing to keep in mind, you will need some method of extracting gas back out of your vehicles if you need it for a generator. Okay. Food bars, we always have a lot of food bars on hand. So I'm just kind of telling you, I'm doing an inventory for myself and just kind of showing you things you could think about. My garden is pretty kaput for the summer, so I'm not going to get much from that. Duct tape, yeah, I got tons of duct tape. I got lots of rope. Shows you a bunch of options about duct tape. That's about it. Fishing equipment, I got tons of fishing equipment because I used to be an avid fisherman. My wife and I both, so we have tons of that. So worst case, we could go down to the Gulf of Mexico and catch some fish. Not a problem. Or try to, at least. Okay, I think that's about it. Yeah. That's all. So I just thought I would kind of remind you, especially if you are in a disaster area, and that's, getting larger and larger, the Atlantic coast, the Pacific coast, the Gulf of Mexico coast, middle of the United States where they have tornadoes. Be prepared. And right now is a good time to do that. And you can get this book, like I say, for $1.99 off of Amazon, or if you're a member of the Amazon Book Club, you can get it for free. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.